What is going on, buddies? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome along to episode number 22 of the F1 22 Road to GOAT Driver Career Mode series for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix weekend, including the sprint race. If you guys did miss the last episode, make sure to go see that one first. There'll be a link in the top right corner of your screen now, so make sure to go check that one out. And make sure to check out the playlist as well to get yourself caught up on the series so far. We're jumping right into the sprint race today to set us up for the Grand Prix. Of course, the no stops and that lower the fuel as usual. Making our way now to the grid for what should no doubt be a very exciting sprint, because we've run 3 sprint weekends so far in this series, and all 3 of them will be hugely entertaining. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this one does for us. We're back inside the top 10 for qualifying, so we're looking to try and move the grid in terms of our starting position for the race itself. And there's our teammate, our ultimate Alex Albon, lining up just next to us. We're going to try and get around him on the start. It's going to 5 red lights for the sprint race here at Imola. Waiting on those 5 red lights to go, and there they are. It's foot to the floor, and we are underway. Now, we didn't get the best of getaways off the clutch, so Ross is going to get past us immediately off the start. We're going to fall under pressure from Magnussen and Gasly's make way towards the Tamburello chicane at turn 1. So we've lost the place already on this getaway as Russell looks to challenge Albon going into that first left-hander. We're going to try and hold off Magnussen as best we can. He's on the inside, bit of contact there, we bang wheels. Magnussen stays behind us. Albon stays around, gets around Russell. He's up in front of those two. So we're going to try and take these guys on as best we can as they go into Villeneuve. Magnussen tries it again around the outside, not going to get through this time. We're going to try and squeeze him out on the exit, and as we go towards Tosa, the next left-hander. Magnussen still there on our inside. We're going to try and take advantage around the outside of Russell and get good traction and use the battery on the exit to try and get around him, but he's just about stays in front of us. So waiting for another chance to try and get around him as best we can. We're going to try the outside going into this next left-hander, and again, no chance to try and pass him. So Russell stays in P9. We've lost the place off the start of this sprint, so not the best of starts compared to what we usually do, but let's try and improve on that, see what we can get in terms of qualifying for the Grand Prix itself. Pushing on towards this to start lap number 2 now. Russell about 7 tenths in front of us, almost 8 as Magnussen looking to threaten us once again into the left-hander at Tosa. He's going to go right down our inside and try to make it work on the exit. We go around the outside. He's still stuck there. He's got his nose in, so we're actually using the best of our battery to try and stay in front. Might have to try and squeeze him going into the left-hander. Russell is getting away all the while. Magnussen on our inside there. No contact. He managed to keep in front of him just about, because he almost drew alongside us, but he managed to keep it ahead. Until lap number 5 now, Albon and Russell going out to the P8 just in front of us. Of course, P8 is the last points paying spot in the sprint. Yellow flag in front of us, and that's one of the Red Bulls. And it's Max Verstappen, who won last time out in Miami, and now he's out in the gravel. It looks to be out of any contention for any points in this race, and a poor starting position will be on the grid for him tomorrow. He looks to be taking on Perez in the replay here to make their way towards the Tamburello chicane, and Verstappen just goes straight on there and flies off into the gravel, and there goes one of the Ferraris as well. I'm not quite sure who that was. That may have been Charles Leclerc. And Verstappen then, he got the car still going, but he's got to wait for him to go back through before he can rejoin the race. So unfortunately for him, this sprint has been poor fortune for him. It's going from winning last time out in Miami to being more or less in the back of the grid for the race itself. So pushing up number 7 here. We've got another yellow flag, and it looks to be one of the Ferraris. It's Charles Leclerc, whose engine is going. There it is, the power unit completely dying on that Ferrari. That last little puff of smoke is all it can give, and Leclerc's had to pull that car over to the side. And another major player out in the sprint race here, or not out. Verstappen is at the back of the pack, and Leclerc is out of the race regardless. So we're continuing on. Let's push us back up into P8 now. So we're back inside the points. Russell did get around Albon, so our old teammate in the BMW Williams is our next target. So make our way through the last corner and down this main straight. Let's try and take away P7 if we can. DRS deployed. Down the straight we come, charging towards that Tamburello chicane once again. We're looking around trying to find an opening, go to the left-hand side, dart inside of Albon here, looking to make something happen, going into the chicane. We're going to get in front of him in the braking zone and just about pull in front, squeezing him towards the curb just a bit there. He's managed to go with it, and Magnussen might try and challenge Albon as well, but up into P7 here with a decent sizable gap to Albon. He's pushed up number 10 now this race, only 2 more laps left to go, and Russell about a second or so up the road. It looks like Hamilton and Ricciardo in the McLaren tangle just in front, and Ricciardo's a bit too deep there. He's held up Russell as well, so all of a sudden 2 places available to us right here if we can get around both of them. Russell, our first target though, making our way towards Villeneuve. They're trying to get around the outside if we can, which is not enough room for us to try and go by. So we have to stay in line for the time being here, but we've got a major opportunity in our hands now. We've got to try and grasp it with both hands. So dive to the inside of Russell at Tosa, who forces us towards the inside. Of course, we've had a few altercations so far this season that were ended in contact. With one thing back to Brazil in the last sprint, weekend, where he spun us out. We're making our way towards the left hand now. This time we're going to try and come out on top and not spin out. And on the inside of Russell, on the exit, we managed to get up into P6 now, so another place gain. And Ricciardo will be our last target for this one. Make our way on to start a final lap of the sprint here, and make our way through what's been a very chaotic sprint so far, both with Leclerc retiring and Verstappen out of the back of the pack and looking to fill the back row of the grid tomorrow. We're going to go to the outside of Ricciardo towards that first corner and into the braking zone. We're still there alongside. We're going to try and squeeze in front, almost go over the sausage curve there. We've managed to stay in front, and there goes Russell trying to take advantage of Ricciardo as well, but there's no concern for us. Ricciardo stays around, and Albon might try to snap up away from him as well. As they make way out of Ackerman and O'Reilly here for the final time as the front four make their way to the checkered flag. There goes Ricciardo to the inside of us, going into that chicane. He goes almost across us there. We have to go over the curb, otherwise we would have had to run into him. So no damage gain for either one of us. Of course, not the best of exits, but we managed to keep it in front, up front. Here comes Sergio Perez to win the sprint and take pole position for the Grand Prix itself. Sainz in second, Norris third, Hamilton fourth. We're going to come across the line here to claim P5 at the end of a brilliantly fantastic sprint race from all the way down in P10 to P5 on the grid at the checkered flag. So it'd be a decent start for us right amongst the big boys for the race in terms of starting position. But what a race.
Lando Norris takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. With the sprint wrapped up, we now have our grid line up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
That was a very entertaining sprint race indeed. A sprint race which continues to serve up chaos of the three we've had so far and this one. So Perez takes the victory, Sainz in second, Norris third, Hamilton fourth, we come home fifth, Ricciardo 6th, Russell 7th, and Albon holds on to get 1 point for Williams in the end. He finishes in 8th, Magnussen 9th, and Gasly around the odd top 10 with our teammate Esteban Ocon down in 12th there. He's got work to do for the race itself, as do the back row drivers of Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris moves into the lead of the Drivers' Championship by 5 points over Leclerc. Sainz just 9 points back, Verstappen 11 out, George Russell 15 behind. Perez is 21 back in 6th place. So we've got an incredible lineup for the sprint in terms of points on the board, and Ferrari continue to show the way. We're still there in 5th place, no road change there in terms of position. We'll jump right into the Grand Prix itself then. Sunny skies over the circuit hosting the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix here at Imola. It should be a very exciting one, no doubt, especially given the sprint we just witnessed a few minutes ago. So looking forward to this one from P5 on the grid. Now that was P5, but a grid penalty for Lando Norris means we move up to P4 here. So we're onto the second row of the grid as Perez starts the pole with Sainz alongside him. It's Hamilton and ourselves in 4th place. So we're on course for what could potentially be another podium, because we've got one in Silverstone as our first podium of our F1 career, as there's our Drivers' Championship in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen there after the sprint race. So we get one podium at Silverstone, our home race, a few races ago. We'll try and get another one here in Italy if we can. So in terms of strategy for the race itself, we'll look into this 32-lap race as a simple one-stop as usual. However, we did consider some of the other strategies, try to pit a lap earlier or later. We're going to stick with the basic strategy here. Pit on lap 15 for hard tyres, starting on those mediums, we're down to the size of the fuel as always. So coming up to the grid now for the start of what should be no doubt a thrilling race. So make sure to stick around for it, and make sure to subscribe if you are new around here to get caught up with any content that I release in the coming weeks. So there we go then, onto the grid for the race itself. Perez and Sainz in the front row, Hamilton and ourselves on row 2, and there are your back row starters, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. We're looking to fight through the field. I have to keep an eye on them, see if we see them later in the course of the Grand Prix itself. We're going down to 5 red lights for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, the 6th round of the championship, and it's underway. Lights out, foot to the floor, go, go, go. Better start on than we did in the sprint on the clutch, so we still might actually lose a place. There goes Ricciardo on the left hand side. We're going to try and get clear of him, and we do. We need to help with our battery. Max is up to P5 here, so a brilliant getaway. We're going to keep things neutral here and try and stick behind Hamilton through the Tamburello chicane. We're still a bit too far behind him to actually go for a move. But on the way towards the middle, we're going to try and close in that a little bit more. Sainz has got over the lead. He's managed to take Perez going through the first couple of corners. Perez stuck in P2, Hamilton P3, and we remain constant in P4. Ricciardo and Magnussen dueling behind us for the 5th spot. We're trying to get around Hamilton if we can, but all in all, a decent start. We've managed to hold position, more or less, so I'm satisfied with that. Let's try and make a move towards the front of the pack. Across the number 2 here, chasing Hamilton towards that final chicane where he took on Ricciardo in the sprint, looking to try and make something happen. Hamilton locks him and almost goes straight on there. We had to go way wide in order to avoid him on the exit, because I wasn't overly sure as to where he was going to rejoin on the racetrack, so I just went a bit evasive, and we've managed to get over that. Luckily, no penalty or warning or anything like that. On to lap number 3 now. Hamilton made a mistake of some kind, and Russell is now in P5. Maxson's in P4 here. All of a sudden, we've got 2.5 seconds on those car time. There was a yellow flag there. Not quite sure what it's for. It might have been for Hamilton. Perhaps running a bit deep there. But Perez and Sainz have gone away from us brilliantly. They're about 2.5 seconds clear. So we're in a world of our own right now, just 3 laps into this race. Because we are managing damage as well. The power unit's still a bit worn from the last round. The MG UK is struggling a bit. On to lap number 6 here. We've still got Sainz and Perez up front, dueling for that top spot, but we are starting to fall away. We need these guys to actually try and go at it for a battle for position here to make their way towards the Tamburello chicane. There goes Sainz looking to the inside if he can. He's going to get a nose in and try and move in front of the Mexican here, but he's not having it. He's still there on the outside, not giving you anything. These two going side by side, and the longer they're side by side for, the more close we can get in the corners and try and close that gap. You definitely see us getting closer as these guys make their way out of Villeneuve, and we'll come through just now in our Alpine, still running there in P3, and no concern behind. We can just fully focus on chasing these two. But what a battle they're having here. Alta Tosa still side by side and making their way up the hill here. And look at them, they're still going at it. I don't quite believe this. They've been almost half a lap and they're still going with their same position. I think this time Perez might just get in front of him. Yes, he will go into Ackerman and Raleigh, but Perez into Lever. What a fantastic battle that was. Those two not giving each other an inch, side by side all the way, and we've gained a massive amount of time here. We're now 1.2 seconds behind them, almost in DRS range, so it's been brilliant for us. On to number 13 in this race, we've got a yellow flag for the back, and we still continue to chase down the two leaders. No real luck with that so far, and it looks like a blue icon on the screen. That might be one of our cars, or it could be in the Williams, and I think it is the Williams Alexander Albon potentially, who started 8th for this one after the penalty 7th, but it's coming towards it. It looks like he's maybe out of this race, and there he is, our old teammate Alexander Albon. No, on of course score some decent points because he didn't score any points when we were his teammate all season long, and this time his best opportunities for it may have just been snatched from him in cruel fashion. There goes his teammate Guan Yu Zhou, sandwiched by Verstappen and Leclerc, charging back to the field. But Albon out of the race here, so down to 19 cars. Very unfortunate. It's come to lap number 15 now, looking to take that first pit stop, and what should be only pit stop of the Grand Prix, short of any problems. Sainz is coming in, Perez is not. Perez stays out. Strategy difference between the Red Bull and Ferrari leaders here to make our way into the pit lane here for what should be our only stop of the Grand Prix. Onto that set of hard tyres. Now the mediums have performed very well here, but of course we can't go onto a set of mediums, and we definitely can't go onto a set of softs. That require another stop here, so change on the hards it is. I dare say we may have lost time, despite having a good stop here. I dare say we may have lost time to Carlos Sainz in our pit stops there. So Sainz will definitely get out, in front of us, and I dare say he may increase the gap he had before he came in, which is unfortunate because despite a 2.3 second stop from the crew, which is really, really good, Sainz is going to get away with us, and it looks to be about 4 seconds or so clear by the time we actually leave the pit lane and cross that yellow line. So that's what that comes out to be once Perez emerges from the pit lane. So I reckon we're having his stop this time as well. It's come to like number 17 here. Perez has rejoined, and we are about 4.5 seconds behind Sainz, so we definitely lost time here. Another yellow flag for the back, and it's Pierre Gasly this time, the Frenchman out of the Grand Prix for AlphaTauri, which is unfortunate for him. So of course he's making his way through a number of cars on the pit lane exit, and making his way through turn 1. He's got a bit too deep there, come across Lando Norris there, and he's gone straight through onto the gravel. So I think that may have been some kind of problem with the car there. He's going slow in the same sort of manner that Alex Albon was a couple of laps ago. So Gasly, with what looks to be an internal failure, out of the race. That brings us down to 18 cars now. On to number 19, you can see Lewis Hamilton closing in us a bit more. We've had no real pressure from behind at the fastest lap of the race so far. 1 minute 18.4 for us. Hamilton hasn't been giving us much pressure so far because he's been about 2.5 seconds back the entire time, perhaps even more than that, as we're chasing the lead. But he's at the end of lap number 20 now. He's all over us, just 3 tenths back, and we only have DRS. So I'm not looking forward to this because we took him on in Miami and came out on top, but this time I'm not too confident because now we're in a complete dry and say he's still faster than our Alpine car in a straight line. We're going to try and make a move on us going towards the Tamburello chicane. We're going to try and defend the middle of the tracks. He's got nowhere to go, so we're going to try and block him off. And through the corner, nice and smooth here. So Hamilton will be a force to be reckoned with when he really gets up to speed. He might try for us here in the gun into the Villeneuve chicane. He might go for it, to be fair. He's going to look to the inside. The red proximity arrow comes into play, but so we've managed to cover him off just about, almost ran into the gravel. But Hamilton about half a second back now, but still a major threat late on in this Grand Prix to reach the final few laps. Hamilton's still there, back there with us in P3. We've got a bit onto the grass, and Hamilton will gain all 6 of those steps back and might try and go for us again into the Villeneuve chicane. And this time we can't hold him off as much. He's there on the inside. We've got to break and give him momentum to try and regain. I'm going to try and regain the place back as best we can. Perez is getting away here. Back to inside of Hamilton into Tosa. Bit of contact there. Oh, definitely there's way too much contact there. I think we're at fault for that. So we're going to be nice and give him the place back and try and get back at him again as we possibly can. So I think that's just clean, not clean racing, but a clean response to it. Don't want to start anything with a 7-time world champion with that much skill and that with a much faster car than we have. So P4 for now. I try and get him back out of that middle rider here. Poor exit. We shunted him ever so slightly there. Didn't realise he'd be that slow on the exit compared to us. So look to be out into the inside if we can. Go very late, the same place he locked up earlier. We'll try and give him the space to the chicane. We have sort of forced him out a little bit. He's taking a trip through the dirt. So we'll have back him into P3 here. Perhaps not how we wanted to. A bit too aggressive, and Hamilton may notice that push on towards the end of lap number 22 now. And Russell closing in. He's about 2 seconds back. Hamilton to the outside of us here, out of the last corner and down that main straight, heading towards the chicane once more. He's just about in front of us. We're going to try and look back to the inside of the braking zone if we can. Try and find a way in. We might try and push Hamilton deep. We've shunted him again. I doubt he'll be too happy with us after this race is over. The sausage curb there, so we're going to lose a tenth or two to Hamilton. So we're going to stay behind him here. Onto lap number 24 and try and go from again into Tamburello to the inside. He's going to give us the space this time, shunting him once again. Way too much aggression against him. He's gone over the sausage curves himself this time. Back him into P3 though, so we're really going for it, really going elbows out in order to try and hold this podium position, because it may be a while before we get another chance to see it here. As Russell looks to try and take Hamilton, he takes him by the end of the lap, and now he's trying to challenge us. Yellow flag for the back. I dare say that's one of the Audi cars. It is Mick Schumacher out of the race. We've got troubles of our own right now, as Russell almost looks to the inside there, going through the penultimate corner on the circuit. He could come back at us here. DRS on the exit as we make our way through towards the next couple of laps here. A couple of laps later, reaching the end of it. On to lap number 27 in this race now, and Russell right there with us, and that train behind us is built massively as we come through and make contact with Russell. We've shoved him a bit too far to that left side of the track, and Hamilton might try and take advantage as well. Russell on our inside as he head towards that first corner. He's going to try and take it 3 wide as Lewis Hamilton into the corner. Russell goes too deep. We're going to go straight on around the outside of him, perhaps onto the dirt a little bit there. We've managed to go over there though. We're back up into P3, and we're defending this one with all our life as the train behind us continues to form. When's the next time we get a podium chance? Not likely in the next couple of races or so, because the next couple of races don't really suit us too much. On to the final lap of this race. Russell's going to try it again, making his way through. Look at the gap between us and Sainz and Perez. About 20 seconds clear of us as we defend this final podium place with our life here. Through Tamburello, nice and smooth on the exit. Russell going to try and get us again towards the end. Will he get enough to run? I don't think he will. He may be challenged by Hamilton for the back. He may want P4 back in this final lap. We're going a bit too deep there, almost onto the gravel. We do put half a wheel on the gravel. Russell might go for us into Tosa. We're going to try and keep it smooth here, keep it in front. And up front, reaching the end of the lap here, Sainz has held off Perez towards the end of it. The pit stop's working in his favour, and Sainz is going to win this dogfight between the Spaniard and the Mexican. He comes through to take his second win of the season, the first in Silverstone. He wins now in Imola. Perez comes home in second place. Great race for those two, brilliant stuff. There's Russell. Russell's still not done. He might try to go for us one more time as these last couple of corners, but he's not going to go for it. He's not going to get enough for a run. So we're going to just about hold him off. He's come to this last corner. We may have one last try with the DRS, but he's not going to run out. He's not going to have any left. He runs out of time. We're going to come to the line here to claim P3, our second podium in 3 races here, in the second podium for F1 career. Third place once again, beating the 2 Silver Arrow cars and taking home 15 points for Alpine today. Leclerc takes driver of the day. That drive to the field, not quite good enough for him, but good stuff nonetheless.
The Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, and what a sensational victory they've managed to pull off here. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
The Ferrari Alfa Romeo partnership then nets its 3rd win in 6 races, with Carlos Sainz coming home the victor here in front of the Tifosi at Imola. So Sainz the victor, Perez in 2nd, and we come home in a tremendous 3rd place there. Thoroughly enjoyed that race. Didn't quite enjoy the hard tyres in the second stint, defending from the Mercedes cars at the end. We managed to do it just about, despite taking a bit more elbows out driving than we usually try to go for. So celebrations begin then. Sainz and Perez, brilliant stuff for them after their dogfight earlier on. We come home in 3rd.
With his performance today, Carlos Sainz assumes the top spot in the championship standings. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Charles Leclerc showed exactly how to manage yourself out on the track today. He was almost flawless out there. Incredible stuff.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
That was a fantastic sprint weekend for us. Carlos Sainz takes home 32 points from the sprint race and the race itself. There's your final results of the Grand Prix. Sainz wins it, Perez 2nd, we come home in 3rd, Russell beats Hamilton for the 4th, Ricciardo takes 6th place in the end, and Magnussen, after running as high as P4, comes home 7th, Norris fights back to 8th, and Leclerc and Verstappen, the last 2-point scorers after coming from the back row to finish just about in the points paying places, denying our teammate Esteban Ocon pointless weekend for him. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, then Carlos Sainz with the victory takes over the lead of the championship, leapfrogs both Lando and Charles there. Perez now 4th, or tied with Leclerc for 3rd. Russell in 5th, and Verstappen down to 6th here, and we're still there in 7th place, holding off Lewis Hamilton, 15 points clear of him. And in terms of the constructors, Ferrari still lead the way, Red Bull 2nd, Mercedes 3rd, McLaren 4th, and we're still in 5th place, but closing perhaps a little bit more on McLaren. as we go by. So that's the end of the video, guys. I do hope you've enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to like, share and subscribe. Check out the playlist if you are new around here to get caught up on all the action from the Road to GOAT series so far. And until my next video, guys, I will see you then. Have a good day, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.